Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mondays with Mike number 4. This is the special Tuesday edition of my weekly companion show to Longshot Sportscast. This is where I come in and I break down every matchup that happened every week for the NFL, the scores, the stats, and everything in between, or at least most of it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a moment, though. Let me make sure that my computer audio isn't as low as it says it is. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mondays with Mike number 4. This is the special Tuesday edition of my weekly companion show to Longshot Sportscast. This is where I come in and I break down. Okay. Hey. Okay. On with the show. Let's bring that back to where it should be. What's going on? Okay. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this right now. Oh, gee, Louise. Okay. Okay, everything's fine. I just got a little worried. I'm looking at Audacity in real time, and I'm seeing how quiet everything looks, and that was starting to scare me a little bit. I've had situations where I record the show, and then I go back and I notice, oh my god, Audacity looks really quiet. That's a bother. And then I go back and I realize, oh, well, that's because my computer took it upon itself to turn my mic volume almost all the way down. So my computer's a big time scumbag sometimes. Then I just have to realize that, of course, it's not going to be that loud when there's only one guy. It's also really early in the morning for me. It's about 4 hours before I'd normally wake up on a weekday, a work day. Anyway, this whatever. Shit's boring. Who cares? It's not what anybody would be here for that would want to watch this. So let's get into it, shall we? Break down. I mean, heck, here's the advantage to doing it on a Tuesday is that I get to break down all the Monday games as well. We had a double header thanks to the Rona with the Chiefs and the Patriots, as well as the Packers Falcons. We'll get to those last, of course. Thursday night, I don't want to talk about because talk about stank. That's all I'm going to say about that. Jeez Louise. Saints Lions. Saints get back to 500 with a 35-29 victory, which, like we said on the show, the Lions were going to put up points in this game. I don't know that I expected them to put up 29, and they definitely had the lead in the Saints in the first quarter. Then the Saints surged back. They were up 14-7. Saints surged back with a 21-point unanswered comeback in the second quarter. They go 7 apiece in the third, and then the Lions try to mount something with 8 points in the fourth. Too little, too late. Drew Brees, 19 for 25, 246, 2-1. Alvin Kamara, 19 for 83 in the air and 3 for 36, and a touchdown on the ground, rather. 3 for 36 in the air. Traquan Smith, 4 for 54 and 2 in the air, which sucks because I had him in one of my leagues and I let him go after that Green Bay game. Oof. Manny Sanders, 6 for 93 in the air, but no score. Latavius Murray, 14 for 64 and 2 on the ground. So they're working out that tandem, something fierce. Patrick Robinson, former Charger, with a interception. And then you've got Cam Jordan with a sack, Trey Hendrickson with a sack, David Onyemata with a sack. So not a bad effort from the defense too. Interesting to note, No field goals for Will Lutz, all extra points. Lions, Matt Stafford, 17 for 31, 206, 3-1. Not terribly accurate, but I mean, I guess, I don't know, not terrible. AP on the ground, 11 for 36 and 1. Not your best stat line, as far as yardage anyway. It's crazy to think about. I mean, but I guess that's just Father Time, kind of coming around and getting the best of everybody. But 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, that man set the single game rushing record with, I believe, 297 yards on my fucking Chargers. Drinking some water, waking myself up a little bit. That way we don't have Yawn Fest 2020 like we did last week. That was embarrassing. Kenny Golladay, 4 for 62 and 1. He had a touchdown really early in the game. I was kind of hoping for more as his fantasy owner didn't pan out, but it didn't matter. Did not matter so in my paid league for work, the one that I play with Brady and Skyler, I had Saquon as my first pick. He's gone. And I probably lost my 2 other picks for a decent chunk of the season as well. I'm already 0-4. My $50 is just gone. Fucking pumped right into the wind. Anyway, DeAndre Swift, 4 for 30 and a score. Danny Amendola, 2 for 57, no score. TJ Hawkinson, 2 for 9 and a score. Defense, Reggie Ragland with a sack, Romeo Okwara with a sack, and Darryl Roberts with a pick. Interesting enough, no field goals for Mr. Matt Prater as well. Weird. So moving on. Chargers at the Buccaneers, and my goodness, the Chargers got out to such a lead in this game. Justin Herbert, 20 for... Yeah, is that you? Justin Herbert, 20 for 25, 293 and 1. That one came right at the end when they were, again, just seems to be the case with every Justin Herbert game so far. We're in a 2-minute drill right at the end to try to catch up or to try to win. And that just a lot of pressure on the poor guy. And he just makes a bad decision and throws a pick. He played so marvelously throughout the whole game. They were up 24-7 with 30 seconds to go heading into the half. And naturally what happens here, but they decide instead of kneeling it, and because they're going to get the ball back at the half, instead of kneeling it, no, we're going to run a draw play. What happens is the handoff, it's a little too high. Kelly doesn't have it. He fumbles it. Tampa Bay picks it up and immediately scores. Mike Evans touchdown. And I was just so pissed as soon as that happened. As soon as that happened, I felt like the momentum shifted and it didn't matter. Heading into the second half, we had a score in the third quarter, but fuck, man. Tom Brady just surged. 3 touchdowns in the second half and a field goal for good measure. Not a good time. I mean, a great showing from Justin Herbert until the very end where the interception sealed the deal. But otherwise, man, he's continuing to show off why he needs to just keep starting this team. As unfortunate as the scenario is for Tyrod Taylor, he's playing really good ball. And every week you can tell he's trying to refine himself a little bit. So he's making less bad decisions. We didn't see him, this wasn't an interception he made at the cost of a first down on the ground, like in the Chiefs game. This was just a case where the running game has nothing going on. And we lose Austin Eckler, I believe in the first quarter, to a hamstring injury. I thought it was a hamstring tear because they couldn't even get the guy on the cart. Turns out he's going to be gone at minimum a month, but he may return this season, which has me a little worried. But no, on the ground, nobody's picking up anything. This is the best rushing defense in the NFL, bottom line. Justin Herbert, 5 carries for 15 yards on this thing. Austin Eckler, 2 for 12. Justin Jackson, 6 carries for 9 yards. And Josh Kelly, 9 carries for 7 yards. Fullback Gabe Neighbors, 1 for 4. Just nothing going on the ground. And Justin Herbert, despite that, Herbert was able to get what he could in the air. It just came down to a lot of pressure. Holy shit, there's the yawn. A lot of pressure and just a complete tonal shift off of that fumble. I maintain that I don't think it would have gone this way if they hadn't fucked up right before the end of the half and given the Buccaneers some hope, because it was looking like we were going to stomp a mud hole in them for the whole game. But as usual, once a team starts making a comeback, Anthony Lynn fails to make an adjustment to kind of stop the bleeding. It's just bend, don't break the entire way through, but it doesn't matter if they're just going to keep scoring. So I don't know. I've been an Anthony Lynn defender for his entire tenure, but every week when we're losing these close single score games that we should win when you really get down to it, and we have a chance to win each one of these things, it's harder and harder to defend the guy. So yeah, just crushing, I don't know. Jalen Guyton, 1 for 72 with a touchdown. Tyron Johnson, practice squad tight end, called up mere days before this game. 1 for 53 and 1. He had just this beautiful, in the air, just Mahomes-esque. In fact, him and Guyton both, they were just Mahomes-esque long bombs just placed perfectly in their hands. Donald Parham, former Dallas Renegade with the XFL, 1 for 19 and 1. And Keenan Allen, probably the glue of this whole thing, 8 for 62. Had this miraculous toe tap catch. Just talk about threading a needle over a cornerback. If you haven't seen that play, that is probably, despite Brady's 5 touchdowns, that play by Keenan Allen is such a freak happening. That's the play of the game. I'm not trying to be a homer here. That's the play of the game. Go check it out if you haven't. You absolutely owe it to yourself to see this. Just what a marvel this catch was. Defensively, defense did not get a sack in that game. I will say Tampa's O-line really held together. Tristan Wirfs especially really impressed me. He was holding off Joey Bosa. Just really good showing from the Iowa product. Michael Davis with a pick 6. That was fun to watch. That was part of the mud hole stomping at the very beginning. Kaiser White with 8 tackles, although he did get penalized for unnecessary roughness. I don't know what, because he ran into a guy too fast. I mean, my goodness, he looked like he knocked a dude out. It's kind of funny. Tom Brady, 30 for 46, 369, 5 and 1. Ronald Jones, 20 for 111 on the ground. No rushing touchdowns on this team. Mike Evans, 7 for 122 in a score. Scott Miller, 5 for 83 in a score. OJ Howard, 3 for 50 in a score, though it looked like he left the game. I believe he got carted out. Keyshawn Vaughn, 2 for 22 and 1, and Cameron Brate, 1 for 3 and 1. And that was a freak little dart that he caught. Shaq Barrett with a sack, Jordan Whitehead with a sack. Oh, fuck. That's enough, Mike. Carlton Davis with the pick at the very end to seal the deal. And Ryan Succop, 1 for 2. Badgley was 1 for 2 as well for the Chargers. Moving on, Jaguars Bengals. Joey B gets his first NFL victory over Gardner Minshew's Jaguars. Gardner Minshew, 27 for 40, 351, 2 and 1. James Robinson, a little quieter this week, 17 for 75, no score. Receiving, DJ Chark, welcome back, 8 for 95 and 2. Laviska Shenault Jr., 5 for 86. Keep your eye on him. Miles Jack, 3 for 1 and 1. I'm sorry, 3 tackles, 1 assist. With 1 interception is what I was trying to say. Josh Allen with a sack as well. And their kicker, former Giant Aldrick Rosas, 4 for 5 on the day. Bengals, Joe Burrow, though, 25 for 36, 300 yards, 1-1. Joe Mixon, 25 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns, just carving them up on the ground. Tyler Boyd, 7 for 90. T. Higgins, 4 for 77. Drew Sample, 3 for 47. That's the tight end there with Uzama hurt. Interesting to know, AJ Green, 1 for 3. Frustrating if you're an AJ Green owner. And then Joe Mixon in the air, 6 for 30 and another score. Defensively, Jordan Evans with a sack and a pick, Akeem Davis and Carl Lawson each with half a sack, and Andrew Brown with a sack. So great first win for Joey B as he looks to kind of keep that momentum going heading into week 2. The future looks very bright for this guy. Vikings Texans. This is the last nail in Bill O'Brien's coffin as the coach and general manager of the Texans. He's been the coach he was the coach for 7 years, or I believe this was his 7th season. Bill O'Brien was fired yesterday. Romeo Crennel, defensive coordinator for the team. You may remember him from head coaching tenures with the Cleveland Browns, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, I believe he was defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots during the first dynasty. Don't quote me on. Yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, hold the phone. He was special teams coach for the Giants when they won a couple Super Bowls there. And then, he was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots during the dynasty. Yeah, and he went on to coach the Browns for 4 years. Nothing really happened there. Then he was defensive coordinator for the Chiefs for a couple seasons, head coach for the Chiefs for a couple seasons. I think you may remember the Chiefs had their really awful 2-14 season. I believe that was 2012. Because then they drafted Eric Fisher the following year under him. And then he was D coordinator for the Texans for 3 years, assistant head coach. So he's been with the Texans since 2014, D coordinator for 3 years, assistant head coach for 1, assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for 2 years, then just the assistant head coach this year, and now interim head coach. So interesting choice. Obviously, they go with the guy who's had probably the most head coaching experience on that staff. At least I would assume so. Take a look. I want to kind of see who their staff is, I guess, if that's possible. Head coaches, current staff: Anthony Weaver, Akeem Dent. Oh, that's a former player. Strength and conditioning coach Brian Cushing. That's hilarious, considering that guy was hurt most of his career. TJ Yates, Tim Kelly, John Perry. Yeah, I mean, okay. Shoot. They just went with the guy with the most head coaching experience out of everybody here, which is some. None of these other fellas have been head coaches. So interesting. Back to the score, though, 31-23. Kirk Cousins, 16 for 22, 260 and 1. Dalvin Cook, 27 for 130 and 2 scores. Alexander Mattison, 7 for 17 and a score as well. Adam Thielen, 8 for 114 and a score. Justin Jefferson, the rookie, continues to dazzle, 4 for 103. And the defense, Yannick Ngakoue, another sack. I believe that's 3 games in a row with a sack for him. DJ Wonnum with a sack. No picks, it looks like. Dan Bailey 1 for 2. Texans offense just could not get this thing going, though. Sean Watson, 20 for 33, 302 touchdowns. David Johnson, 16 for 63 and nothing. He continues to just not look as good as he did week 1. Will Fuller, 6 for 108 and a score. Jordan Akins, 3 for 46 and no score. Kenny Stills, 2 for 39 and a score. Defense, PJ Hall with a sack. Whitney Merciless with 2 sacks. JJ Watt noticeably quiet on that stat line. Of course, No picks. Kaimi Fairbairn, 3 for 3 on field goals. Good shit. But yeah, no, this was it. This was the game. Houston drops another one at home. Bill O'Brien's gone. It'll be interesting to see how far this team moves, because obviously without DeAndre Hopkins, they're not much of a threat in the vertical game. Will Fuller's doing the best he can, but I mean, come on. There seems to be some real issues with this Texans team that really kind of in spite of their terrific roster on paper. I mean, I had them pegged as a playoff team, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, they could surge. Don't get me wrong. A couple of years ago, they started 0-3, finished 11-5. I don't see that happening. Not now. And then the sick part is they don't even get a draft pick this year. So if they have kind of an anomaly, really shitty season, the only team that they're going to benefit there is the Dolphins, who are probably only going to get better next year. Yeah, well, that's what happens when your head coach wants to be GM and makes some really bonehead moves. You're still getting bit hard from the Laramie Tunsil trade, and in terms of your draft picks. And then on the field, you're getting bit hard by trading away the best receiver in football. And I maintain that he's the best receiver in football in DeAndre Hopkins. Seahawks versus the Dolphins. Seahawks moved to 4-0 with a 31-23 victory over the Dolphins. Russ, 24 for 34, 362 and 1. This is a noticeably more human performance from Russell Wilson since he's looked like a fucking god the last 3 weeks. Chris Carson, nice little bounce back, 16 for 80 and 2 on the ground. DK Metcalf, 4 for 106 and no score. David Moore, 3 for 95 and a score. And Travis Homer, 1 for 3 and a score. Defensively, Bobby Wagner, 10 tackles. Ryan Neal with an interception. Let's see. Anthony Rush, Brian Moan, Poona Ford. And where are you? No, I said Poona Ford for no reason. It's the bright screen. Anthony Rush and Brian Moan with half a sack apiece, and Shaq Griffin with the interception, which can only mean Ryan Fitzpatrick, 29 for 45, 315, no TDs, 2 picks. Fitzpatrick, 6 for 47 with 1 on the ground. Myles Gaskin, 10 for 40. The rushing game not looking impressive. Matt Breida looking pretty disappointing. Actually, him and Jordan Howard both have been really disappointing for this Dolphins team so far. This is not the committee of backs that I thought they were going to have. They really need kind of a bell cow, and they're not seeing it right now, which is unfortunate. I think the last bell cow they've had should have been Kenyon Drake. They just kind of let that kind of pass them by. They really didn't know how to integrate him in the running game. The last one that they had, I drawing a blank, I think it must have been Jay Ajayi. I don't know. Devontae Parker, 10 for 110. Other than that, nobody caught a touchdown, and he's the only one with any real notable output. And then on the defense, Manuel Ogba with a sack, Xavier Howard with a with an interception rather. Shaq Lawson with a sack. Not a lot going on. There must have been I think that Xavier Howard was a pick 6, if I recall. Jason Sanders, 5 for 5 field goals. So, I mean, at least you got a good kicker. That's about all I could say. Moving on, Browns win. I mean, they absolutely stomped a mud hole in Dallas this whole game. And Dallas tried their best to catch up, just didn't happen. Baker Mayfield, 19 for 30, 165 and 2. Jarvis Landry, 1 for 1. Oh, goodness. Sound like Winnie the Pooh there. 1 for 1 with a passing touchdown of his own. They love doing that funny little trick play. Odell Beckham, 2 for 73 and 1 on the ground. Kareem Hunt, 11 for 71 and 2 scores. Nick Chubb obviously got hurt in this game, but the team still totaled 307 rushing yards. Nick Chubb, I believe he had an MCL tear. And okay, actually, no, that is a lie. Nick Chubb is expected to miss roughly 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. So keep him in your hearts and minds. Luckily, I mean, this is the best tandem in football. They've got Kareem Hunt there. OJ Howard looks to be, they're saying that he's feared to be out for the season. Oh, no, his MRI today has confirmed that, and this is going back. I try to kind of cover these injuries right now. The OJ Howard carted off. He had a torn Achilles that he'll be done for the season. Obviously, we've talked about on the show how debilitating a torn Achilles can be, and you look about it in basketball and sports. Basketball, that's an injury that forces a guy to miss a whole season almost. In most every case, look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant tears his Achilles in June. Obviously, he's not going to be ready to go by October. Or would have been October when the season would have started last year. That's how crazy this whole year is with the virus. But even still, with the bubble starting back in June, Durant still wasn't ready to go almost a year later. And that tells you everything you need to know about how nasty an Achilles tear can be. So we wish OJ Howard the best of luck here. Nick Chubb, though, 6 weeks with an MCL sprain, which is better than what I feared was the tear. So then we look at, what was it? Receiving Odell, 5 for 81 and 2. Austin Hooper, 5 for 34 and 1. Defensively, Terrence Mitchell with 11 tackles, Denzel Ward with a pick. This team probably should have had about 4 interceptions, though. It just wasn't a great day for Dallas. Dak Prescott, 41 for 58. This man had to throw the ball 58 times for 502 yards and didn't get it done. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Zeke, 12 for 54. He also had a fumble. Tony Pollard, 3 for 16 and 1. Amari Cooper, 12 for 134 and 1. CeeDee Lamb for 5 for 79 and 2. Dalton Schultz, 4 for 72 and 1. If you started a Cowboys receiver, not named Michael Gallup, I think you were pretty happy fantasy-wise. But, man, you got to be disappointed. The only reason to keep being a Cowboys fan is that it looks like this team, I mean, the NFC West, I'm such a dumbass. NFC East, as a longtime friend of mine pointed out, that division can be won with 4 games, it looks like. It's pretty pathetic when 2 of your teams are going to be picking in probably the top 5, top 10 this year. Top 5 for the Giants, top 10 for the Redskins football team. I still feel like they're going to have more wins than the Giants. It's pretty bad. But anyway, Donovan Wilson with a sack, Trayvon Diggs with a sack. Yeah, I don't know. Not a good one for old Dallas. But Cleveland moves to 3-1 as they're surging. They're looking more and more like a playoff team. They're starting to cook. Baker Mayfield has kind of fallen into his role of game manager and letting kind of the dynamic pieces of his offense do the work for him. So this team's getting smarter and smarter by the day. They're looking like every bit the team that Freddie Kitchens, couldn't squeeze that potential out of. Here comes the disappointment of the Cardinals losing to the Panthers. Now, I don't know. Are the Cardinals worse than we thought, or are the Panthers better than we thought? Or are we simply overreacting to this game altogether? Cardinals drop one, 21-31. Kyler Murray, 24 for 31, 133, which is that's like a Ryan Tannehill stat line right there. Sorry, 2019 Ryan Tannehill stat line. 133 and 3. And he's also 6 for 78, no score on the ground. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 for 41. They bottled him up real good. This is a Panthers defense that, from watching them play the Chargers, they play a very passionate defense. Chase Edmonds, 5 for 24 and 1 in the air. Christian Kirk, 3 for 19 and 1. Really kept everything bottled up, it looks like, as they're playing some pretty underrated football. All right, Mike, that's enough. Patrick Peterson with an interception. Maybe the cold water will wake me up a little bit more. Patrick Peterson with an interception. Other than that, no sacks on this defense. Zane Gonzalez, no field goals. Teddy Bridgewater, 26 for 37, 276, 2-1. Mike Davis, 16 for 84 and 1. Teddy Bridgewater, 6 for 32 and 1. This team continues to get it done without their biggest and best weapon, which I think is part of the thing. Everybody's counting them out. No McCaffrey. Everybody's counting them out. And, it's kind of like when the scrawny kid gets up to bat, okay, everybody fall in, and then he just belts one. Robbie Anderson, 8 for 99 in the air, no score. Reggie Bonifant, 2 for 18 and 1. Ian Thomas, 2 for 5 and 1. So your receivers, unless he started Robbie Anderson in a PPR league, you weren't terribly thrilled. Defensively, Yetur Gross-Matos, the rookie, with a sack. I believe he had one in the last game as well. And then Joe Sly, only 1 for 2 this week after his terrific 5 field goal run against the Chargers, because it was against the fucking Chargers. But a good win for Carolina overall. Ravens dominate Washington. Essentially, they're like the Washington's trying to swing on them, and they're just kind of holding them at an arm's length, like sure you will. Lamar Jackson, 14 for 21, 193, 2-1. Also a 53 or a 40-something yard touchdown, rushing touchdown. 7 carries, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. But that one touchdown was a big, long one. So, yes, Mark Ingram, 8 for 34 and 1. Hollywood Brown, 4 for 86. Mark Andrews, 3 for 57 and 2. And then on the defense, Jalen Ferguson with a sack. No picks from Mr. Dwayne Haskins, though. Played, no touchdowns either, but 32 for 45, 314 and 0. Antonio Gibson, 13 for 46 and 1. Haskins, 3 for 3 with a rushing touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 10 for 118. Antonio Gibson, 4 for 82 in the air. J.D. McKissick, 7 for 40. Nobody else really doing much of anything of note. The defense noticeably quiet. Looks like Chase Young out again with that groin injury. Tim Settle with the lone sack, and Kendall Fuller with the with 2 picks there. That's right. Oh yeah, RG3 comes in for 1 pass and then threw an interception. That against his old team. That's unfortunate. I'm as big of Robert Griffin III fan and sympathizer as anybody could be, and that makes me sad. But this result was to be expected. The Battle of Maryland. Clearly, the Ravens were going to win that one. Giants and the Rams. The Rams absolutely should have just shoved these guys into the mud and just pushed them in a locker like the fucking nerds that the New York Giants are. This team fucking sucks. And they really didn't. 9-17 is the score here. This was not the beating that it should have been. Giants should have absolutely gotten wailed on. Daniel Jones, 23 for 36, 190 and a pick on the ground, 6 for 45 as well. Wayne Gallman, 6 for 45. Devontae Freeman, 11 for 33. Yikes. Darius Slayton, 3 for 48. I'm not going to talk about any of the receivers here. Fuck. The most notable thing any of these guys did was Golden Tate getting into a slugfest with Jalen Ramsey. Just an ugly, boring ass game, and I feel sorry for anybody that watched this damn thing. Kyler Fackrell with a sack, Austin Johnson with a sack, Graham Gano 3 for 3 on field goals. The Rams, though, in fact, he scored the only points of this for that Giants team. Should be the team MVP. Jared Goff, 25 for 32, 1 touchdown off 200 yards. Malcolm Brown, 9 for 37, but the only scorer rushing-wise was the tight end, Gerald Everett, 1 for 2 for 1. Cooper Kupp, 5 for 69 and 1 in the air. Other than that, all these receivers disappointed. Defense, Morgan Fox with a sack, Darius Williams with an interception, Ogbonia Okoronkwo, I probably fucked that name up. With a sack, Michael Brockers with a sack, Samson Abukum and Aaron Donald with a half a sack, and Justin Hollis with a sack. So they ate. I don't understand. I didn't watch this fucking thing though, so whatever. Rams got the win, 3-1. Giants continue to go winless, and who knows if they'll pick one up. Bills Raiders 30-23 Bills, but don't be fooled. The Raiders score one in garbage time. The Bills had this thing pretty much locked up most of the game, especially heading into the fourth. Josh Allen, 24 for 34, 288 and 2. Looked like he came down hard on it and on his non-throwing hand, but he seemed to be fine. Let me double check that though. Yeah, I'm seeing nothing about him hurting his hand, so no, he should be fine. Devin Singletary, 18 for 55 and a score. Josh Allen, 3 for -1 rushing yard, but he had a rushing touchdown. And then Stephon Diggs, 6 for 115, no score. Cole Beasley, 3 for 32 and a score. Had an amazing little touchdown pass catch where he just gets hit, totally rocked, almost backflips into the end zone. It was pretty funny. Gabe Davis, 1 for 26 and 1. Then defense, Quentin Jefferson with a sack, Daryl Johnson with a sack. No picks though. Derek Carr he's noticeably been playing really solid football this season. Just good stuff from this guy. I mean, the Raiders are 2-2 on the season right now, but you can't point to it and go, well, Derek Carr is turning the ball over like left and right. No, he's playing good ball. 32 for 44, 311 and 2. That's about as good a Derek Carr stat line as you can ask for anybody who wants to kind of call him a game manager. Granted, they didn't win this thing, but this is his Bills defense that bottled Josh Jacobs up pretty good. 15 for 48, and I'll contend Josh Jacobs at his best can be a top 5 running back in the NFL. I'm heaping the praise onto a team that I fucking hate with my whole being, but I'm trying to be as impartial as I can here. And I like to give credit where it's due. Darren Waller, 9 for 88. Hunter Renfrow, 5 for 57. Nelson Aguilar, 4 for 44 and a score. Jason Witten, 2 for 18 and a score as well. The lone sack, Max Crosby with the lone sack of the game. And Daniel Carlson, 3 for 3. I believe he's a rookie kicker. So good victory for Buffalo there. Colts Bears. This was just a defensive stalwart matchup most of the game. Colts at one point led 19-3. Foles tries to mount a comeback, gets a touchdown, a conversion. They just can't get an onside. Phillip Rivers, 16 for 29, 190 and 1. Jonathan Taylor, 17 for 68, but no rushing touchdowns in this game for them. Let's see. Mo Alley-Cox, 1 for 13 and 1. Not quite the breaker performance that I was expecting, but he did get the lone passing touchdown for them, so I'm pleased with it. Julian Blackmon with a pick. I can only probably assume that's a pick 6. No, I'm sorry. Rodrigo Blankenship had 4 field goals. I try to put this shit together like a puzzle, especially if I didn't watch the game. Justin Houston with the lone sack for this Colts defense. Darius Leonard exits the game early with an injury, though. That's a big piece of their defense. It says, let's see. Apparently, he might be coming back next week from what I can tell here. But, yeah, it didn't look very good. Bears, Nick Foles, 26 for 42, 249, 1 and 1. David Montgomery, 10 for 27, no score. In fact, nobody really was getting anything done on the this defense. I think the only team to rush for less cumulative yards than the Chargers against the Buccaneers was the Bears against the Colts. Just awful. Allen Robinson, 7 for 101 and a score. He I counted him out. I always look at the guy and I think back to years of fantasy football past where I take the guy because of his value, wondering why people skipped him over, and then he just doesn't perform for me. But I mean, his stat lines have shown that he's busting ass. So I'm I'll come back and admit when I'm wrong. Uh, let's see. Brett Urban with the only sack for the Bears defense as well. Cairo Santos goes 1-for-1 on the kicking game. But no, I mean, the Colts had this thing. This was a defensive battle, and the Bears, it was just too little too late for them. Both teams 3-1, which I don't think I expected. Moving on, Eagles, Niners. Both these teams were banged up. Carson Wentz, this is his best football of the season so far, but it's still 18 for 28, 193, 1-1. Miles Sanders, 13 for 46. Carson Wentz, 7 for 37 on the ground with a score there, too. Adrian Killens, 1 carry for negative 12 yards. Hilarious. Travis Fulgham, I believe that's a practice squad guy, 2 for 57 and 1. Good for him. Defensively, Rodney McLeod with a pick. Crevon LeBlanc with a sack. Derek Barnett and Javon Hargrave with a half a sack. Josh Sweat with a sack. Jannard Avery with a sack. Hassan Ridgeway with a sack. Alex Singleton with a pick. Defense, just 8, it looks like. And Niners, Nick Mullins got pulled with all these weapons. He gets pulled out of the game. 18 for 26, 201 and 2. CJ Beathard comes in, starts driving. Jerick McKinnon, 14 for 54 and a score. Brandon Ayuk, 1 for 38 and a score. 38-yard rushing touchdown. George Kittle, 15 for 183 and 1. Let's see, Jerick McKinnon, 7 for 43. Debo, 3 for 35. Very quiet. Not the best showing here. Eric Armstead and Jaquiski Tart, each with Kerry Hyder. Eric Armstead and Kerry Hyder, each with a half a sack. Jamar Taylor with a sack. DJ Jones with a sack. Aziz Al-Shahir with a pick. And no field goals. So Niners dropped this one. I guess they're 2-2. Well, I forgot. I don't remember when the Niners lost a game, but Jets. Who did they play week 1? Strange, because they beat the Jets, they beat the Giants, they lose to the Eagles. They must have. They lost their week 1 game, but I don't remember who they played. Whatever. Fuck it. Shit's gay. Who cares? Shit's boring. Patriots, Chiefs win 26-10. Nice little pick 6 there, I believe, at the end. Hoyer, my goodness, fuck, both of these guys. Hoyer, 15 for 24, 130 and a pick. Jarrett Stidham, 5 for 13 and touchdown and 2 interceptions. Remember, I said if the Patriots have a chance of winning, it's because of Cam Newton, and Cam Newton got the Rona. So yeah. Damian Harris, 17 for 100. That's not a bad stat line. Averages 5 point yards to carry. Rex Burkhead, 11 for 45. Man, I really thought they were onto something with Rex Burkhead here. Damiere Byrd with 5 for 80. N'Keal Harry, 3 for 21 and a score. Chase Winovich with a sack. But overall, defense. This is as bad as the Patriots have played in probably a decade. Pat Mahomes, 19 for 29, 236 and 2 scores. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 16 for 64 and nothing doing on the ground. Kelsey, 3 for 70. Tyreek Hill, 4 for 64 and a score. Mecole Hardman, 4 for 27 and a score. So it's as bottled up as Pat Mahomes has been, or as not really notable as Pat Mahomes has been all year as well. Juan Thornhill with a pick. Tyrann Mathieu with a pick. Rashad Fenton with a pick. Frank Clark gets a sack. He continues to impress on defense. And Taco Charlton with a sack as well. So good game all around for Kansas City as they head into Falcons-Packers. Packers win 30-16. Matt Ryan, 28 for 39, 285. Todd Gurley, 16 for 57 and 2 on the ground. Receiving-wise, nobody getting a score here, but their leading receiver is Olamide Zaccheaus. Yikes. 8 for 86. Hayden Hurst, 4 for 51. Julio Jones goes down with a hamstring injury, does not return. They're saying right now it's too early for the Falcons to make a decision on the guy, but he's been nursing a hamstring all year. Um, it's a wonder Dan Quinn hasn't been fired yet, and he should be any day now. Charles Harris with a sack. Moving on to the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 27 for 33, 327 and 4. Aaron Jones, 15 for 71 on the ground. Robert Tonyan Jr., Skyler will call this his breakout performer. I say it's our breakout performer because that's who I was going to say. Robert Tonyan Jr., 6 for 98 and 3 scores. Aaron Jones, 5 for 40 and a score. Jamal Williams, 8 for 95. Aaron Rodgers continues to get it done without his top two weapons, and Lazard and Devontae Adams. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling continues to disappoint me. Defensively, Zadarius Smith with 3 sacks. Raven Green with a sack. Obviously, no picks. But, yeah, a good little showing for Aaron Rodgers here. Just a great game overall. Genuinely surprised at Dan Quinn not being gone, though. Let me see. Yeah, no, he's still around. Somebody goes, so Dan Quinn still got a job at almost noon? Yeah, my thoughts exactly, man. Um, it'll happen. It'll happen. He'll be gone. He'll be gone soon. Next couple days. Or next couple games, I think. I think that they go 0-5. He's done, right? Right? He's got to, yeah. Yeah, he's got to. I don't know. I mean, I'm not laughing. This is a man with his job and all that, but yeah. I just like being right. I like calling shit, and I called Matt Patricia, Adam Gase, and Dan Quinn both being done. Bill O'Brien was he'd be my number 4 on the hot seat, and he wound up getting, so shit happens. Anyway, that is the show. I like to wrap this up right at about 47 minutes. I feel like I'm done just that. So, if you liked what you heard, come on back. What is it? Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Me and my boys, we're going to break down more sports, on the main show. And of course, I'll be here every Monday, unless I do it on Tuesday. Yeah, to talk some football. So take her easy, keep it crispy, and that's about all I got for you. Take care.